UFC Fight Night Strickland versus Hernandez goes underway on Saturday, and it is my duty to give you all my best predictions for this full fight card. So, kicking off the first fight of the night, we have Carly Judice taking on Juliana Miller. I have Carly Judice as a lock. Juliana Miller's just an okay grappler. Carly Judice, she'll be able to defend the takedowns, and she will absolutely dismantle her on the feet. Give me Carly Judice by TKO in the second or third round, or maybe she just dominates to a decision. Moving up the card in the featherweight division, we have Jordan Levitt taking on Yair Del Valle. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that name correctly, but I'm picking Yair Del Valle to beat Jordan Levitt. Jordan Levitt mostly relies on catching fighters in submissions. Yair Del Valle, he is a very high-level grappler, and he is by far the better striker in this matchup. I believe he'll be able to... I think he will be able to get the better of Jordan Levitt in the grappling exchanges. He'll be able to get up some good control time and maybe threaten submissions of his own. And on the feet, I think he has a clear advantage. So my final prediction, give me Yair Del Valle to win by a second or third round submission. Next up, in the welterweight division, we have Jean-Paul Bosnoyani versus Phil Rowe. Very interesting matchup. Phil Rowe, he's got a good bit of UFC experience. He's got a 4-inch height advantage and an 8.5-inch reach advantage, which is very big. But one thing about him is his grappling isn't very high level, and he gets a little bit too patient in fights. And Jean-Paul Bosnoyani, he's a very, very solid grappler, and he's got a lot of power on the feet. He's a very good striker. He hits hard. I can just see Jean-Paul Bosnoyani hurting Phil Rowe early or taking him down and controlling him. And Phil Rowe, sometimes he just gets a little too patient in there, a little too cautious. He starts thinking, with the beakers and test tubes. I think Jean-Paul Bosnoyani is going to take this one by decision. I don't think he's going to get Phil Rowe out of there, but I think he's going to win this fight, mostly based on control time. I'm picking Jean-Paul Bosnoyani by decision to out-grapple Phil Rowe and land some good shots on the feet. So give me Jean-Paul by decision. Next up, in the welterweight division, we have a very interesting matchup between Ramiz Brahimaj and Punahele Soriano. Now, unlike most other people, I think Punahele Soriano stands a great chance at winning this fight. I think he is the better striker between the two, and I think he can do something close to what Austin Vanderford did to Brahimaj and just control him on the ground. However, I do not think he is going to be able to. I am picking Ramiz Brahimaj to win because Punahele Soriano is very much open to getting guillotined. He got caught in multiple guillotines against Nikolai Veretennikov, and Veretennikov is not as good of a submission artist as Brahimaj is. And plus, Punahele Soriano, he does usually gas out after the first round, and how he's explosive on the feet in the first round, and he throws a lot of ground and pound. He's very active when he takes his opponent down and is in full mount or has top control. All of that usually slows down after the first round, and he usually just sticks to just trying to control. And like I said, he is open to guillotines, and that's what I think Ramiz Brahimaj is going to catch him in. I think Ramiz Brahimaj is going to submit Punahele Soriano in the second or third round with the guillotine. Punahele Soriano, I think he's going to start off strong in this fight. I think he's going to be the faster, more dangerous striker early on, and he will be able to take down Brahimaj early and establish a little bit of control. But all of that, I think will slow down in the second round, and Brahimaj will start putting together nice combinations on the feet, and Punahele Soriano's gonna shoot easy to time a takedown where Brahimaj will be able to time a guillotine. But I do think Punahele Soriano can win this fight. I do think he can potentially avoid the guillotine, but I just don't think he will. I feel like Brahimaj is the safer pick, and I'm going to pick him to win it by a third or second round gilly. Moving up the card, we have a rematch that the people will be raving and praising for generations to come. That is Nora Cornoli versus Jocelyn Edwards 2. This is the rematch that we all asked for. We so badly wanted to see this fight. Who am I picking? I'm going to pick Jocelyn Edwards to win a decision. Looking back at their first fight, it was a very close matchup. Cornoli, since that fight, she stayed the exact same in skill level, but she's gotten a little older. She's 36 years old now. Jocelyn Edwards has gotten a whole lot better since that first fight, and she's in her prime years right now at the age of 30. I believe Jocelyn Edwards, she'll be pretty dominant in the grappling exchanges, and she'll be able to find a good bit of success on the feet this time out, since she is an improved striker from before. So, yeah, give me Jocelyn Edwards to win a decision in what will be a generational matchup that the people will be talking about like it just happened yesterday, 100 years from now. But give me Jocelyn Edwards to win a decision. Next up in the flyweight division, we have Alden Correa taking on Luis Gurule. I'm picking Alden Correa by decision. I think he is the better striker between the two, and he is a pretty solid grappler, which Luis Gurule, he mostly relies on grappling exchanges to win fights or clinch, and Alden Correa, he's very good in those. Plus, he's the better striker. I think he's going to take it by decision. I don't know if he's really going to get a finish in this fight, but I do think he is going to get a clear and concise win in this one. Give me Alden Correa to take it by a decision. Moving up the card in the flyweight division, we have Ode Osborne taking on Alibi Idris. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but whatever. I am picking Ode Osborne to win, and here's why. Alibi Idris, he's not that good of a grappler. He's decent, but not good enough to control Ode Osborne for a very long period of time. And on the feet, yes, he does have a decent striking game. You know, he's pretty crafty with his with the way he throws shots, but he is open to getting countered. His defense isn't exactly that good. And Ode Osborne, Alibi Idris, he's never fought an Ode Osborne. He's never fought someone who's taller than him, who's as tall as him, who hits as hard as him. And Ode Osborne, he's got very good counter-punching skills. He has KO power. He's got better experience against fighters who have similar styles to Alibi Idris. I'm picking Ode Osborne, but there is a bit of a worry. You know, I can see Idris outworking him a little bit to pull off a decision. But for maybe the last time, I'm going to pick Ode Osborne to win, because if Ode Osborne loses, I don't think I will ever pick him to win a fight ever again, because this is a fight that he should win. But I am picking him to win. It's not that I don't think Alibi Idris can win. I just think Ode Osborne, he should win. So, yeah, give me Osborne to win, probably by a finish. You know, maybe Alibi Idris, you know, he gets a little wild with his strikes, and Osborne catches him with something nasty and finds the finish there. Give me Ode Osborne to beat Alibi Idris. Moving up the card in the welterweight division, we have Chidi Njokuani taking on Carlos Leal. I'm picking Chidi Njokuani to get a KO. The last time I saw Carlos Leal take on a taller fighter who has a similar style to Chidi and Njokuani, he lost and had to rely on the clinch and grappling to make it close. And Chidi and Njokuani, he's got a very nasty clinch game. He's got good elbows, good knees. He's a very solid Muay Thai fighter. And Carlos Leal, his chin is pretty suspect. He doesn't have very good defense. And he's coming off a KO loss to a 40-year-old Muslim Salikov. I could see him winning. Maybe he lands a lucky one early and rocks Chidi, but I just think Chidi, he's going to enter flow state early. He's going to stay safe. He is pretty good defensively for the most part. He'll be able to pick Leal apart from range with kicks. And whenever they get in the clinch, he'll be able to land his elbows and knees. And I can see him getting a finish in this fight, but I don't really know. So I'm going to just say I'm picking Chidi and Njokuani to get this one done against Carlos Leal by decision or a second or third round stoppage. But yeah, give me Chidi to win. Next up, in the middleweight division, we have Zach Reese taking on Mikael Pereira, the ultimate coughing baby matchup. I'm picking Pereira to win, and I know that it's probably not a good idea. Pereira doesn't have much momentum behind him, coming off a 3-fight losing streak, but the thing is, in Zach Reese's last fight against Jackson McVee, he got hurt really bad with a knee to the body. And Mikael Pereira, even though he has terrible gas tank, one thing you will say, he is very dangerous in the first round most of the time. And he has very dangerous body attacks. He's got nasty body kicks and knees. He does hit hard. And Zach Reese, he's not a relentless enough grappler for me to think about picking him to win. I mean, maybe he can find a KO, but I think it's more likely that Pereira gets to the target first before Zach Reese does. Zach Reese, he's not a relentless enough grappler for me to pick him. He's vulnerable to the body. Pereira, he's got nasty body attacks. And Pereira, he's probably going to want to he's going to be a little bit hungrier entering this matchup, given that he's coming off a 3-fight losing streak. He definitely wants to get back in the win column, and I think it's going to start here. Yeah, give me Mikael Pereira to win. And plus, even though Pereira has bad cardio, I mean, so does Zach Reese. They're both one-round fighters. Both aren't very high-level fighters, but I think Pereira has better experience, and I think he has a slightly better chance. So give me Mikael Pereira to win by a first-round stoppage over Zach Reese. Moving up the card, we have Jacoby Smith taking on Josiah Harrell. I am picking Jacoby Smith by decision. I think he has a grappling advantage in this fight. I've seen Josiah Harrell get taken down a good bit in a couple of his fights. Jacoby Smith, he is a very good grappler. On the feet, I think they're just about evenly matched. But Jacoby Smith, he's got a height and reach advantage. And plus, he's had a full camp. But I don't really think that's going to matter that much, given that Josiah Harrell, only a month and a half ago, has fought. So he's fought recently. So this really isn't that short notice if you think about it. But I think Jacoby Smith, I think he's going to take it by decision. I don't think he's going to get the finish. I think Josiah Harrell, he'll be able to survive the grappling exchanges or be competitive, and it'll be very close on the feet. I think Jacoby Smith, he's probably going to take a 29-28 decision in this fight. So yeah, give me Jacoby Smith to win a decision. Next up, in the heavyweight division, we have Sergey Spivak versus Ante Delija. I am picking Delija by first-round finish. Sergey Spivak, whenever he gets hit hard on the feet, he covers up. And Ante Delija, whenever he has his opponent hurt, he just tees off. He hits hard. He's a pretty good combination puncher. big flurries, and he's got pretty good takedown defense. I think Ante D'Elia is going to finish this fight in the first round. Maybe Sergey Spivak could get a takedown on him, but then again, D'Elia has pretty good takedown defense, and he's got a very, very big advantage on the feet. Give me D'Elia by first round finish against Sergey Spivak. Next up, we have a banger in the featherweight division between Dan Ige and Melquizael Costa. Melquizael Costa is on a good 5-fight win streak, and Dan Ige has a lot of experience against high-level fighters in this division. I'm going to be picking Melquizael Costa to win this one. I feel like Dan Ige, he is getting a little bit older these days, and Melquizael Costa, I think he's got a good ability to outpoint Ige in this fight, and he is the better grappler, so I believe most of this fight will be spent on the feet. But the one thing that worries me when picking Costa comes down to the fact that he usually does get dragged into wars, and that will not play to his benefit. Dan Ige, he has a good chance at knocking out Costa, but Dan Ige, he also does tend to get outpointed in fights, and I think Melquizael Costa, he's going to play it intelligently in this fight. He'll be the better grappler if this fight enters any grappling exchanges, and on the feet, I think he'll be able to outpoint him and evade some of the big punches. I see this one playing out somewhat similar to the Julian Erosa fight, and that's my prediction. Melquizael Costa is probably going to win a 29-28 decision with some dangerous moments late in the fight. Next up on the card, the co-main event in the welterweight division, a fight that is guaranteed to end in a KO, Jeff Neal versus Uros Medic. I am picking Jeff Neal to win this one. Jeff Neal, he's got more experience against better fighters, and I think the narrative entering this one is that Jeff Neal could get KO'd, which he can because Uros Medic is pretty dynamic and creative with his shots. But while Uros Medic does have a 2-inch height advantage, Jeff Neal does have a 4-inch reach advantage. So he will be able to reach the target just as quick, if not quicker, than Uros Medic will be. And plus, Jeff Neal, having fought more experience, having more experience against better fighters, he's coming off the 1 KO loss of his UFC career to Carlos Prates, which, by the way, I think might be the one time he's ever been dropped in his UFC career. Jeff Neal, he does have a pretty good chin. He can take a decent shot. He took a couple punches in that fight with Carlos Prates on the chin, and he was fine up until that spinning elbow KO. I think Jeff Neal, he's fought better fighters, and Uros Medic hasn't fought a fighter on the same striking level as Jeff Neal. I think Jeff Neal, he's going to show crafty vet experience, and I think he's going to find the KO because Uros Medic does have a very mediocre chin. He did get dropped by Gilbert Urbina. He got knocked out by Pinelli Soriano. So I think Jeff Neal will be able to get it done. So give me Jeff Neal to win this fight by KO. Moving on to the main event, Sean Strickland versus Fluffy Hernandez. I have been swapping back and forth for a few weeks now, picking on who I think is going to win this fight, and now I have to settle. I'm picking Sean Strickland to beat Fluffy Hernandez. I know that Fluffy Hernandez, he has a very aggressive, pressure-heavy, physically draining style that wears on fighters, and Sean Strickland usually does struggle in fights when other fighters put a pace on him. You know, the 2 fights with Dricus. But here's the thing, guys. Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, he is chinny to the body. He does get hurt by body shots. People call him the middleweight Marab. And yeah, they're pretty accurate. He's got the same cardio, same style, and they both get hurt to the body. And Sean Strickland, even though we do all make fun of him for his legendary jab and teep combination, like this is the type of stuff we'll be telling our kids campfire stories about in years later, about the legendary jab teep of Sean Strickland. But the truth is, this will actually be effective in this fight due to Anthony Hernandez being, a little bit softer to the body. The teeps of Strickland could add up. The jab could put Anthony Hernandez off rhythm because Hernandez doesn't really have very good striking defense. And Fluffy Hernandez, he kind of just relies on draining on fighters. And we know Sean Strickland has great stamina. And Sean Strickland, he's been in there with some of the best fighters in the world. He beat Adesanya, he beat Imavov, people forget. He fought Dracus twice. A lot of people will argue he won the first fight, which was extremely close. Even though the second fight was, for the most part, a complete washout. Strickland, he probably wasn't really prepared for that fight. But the thing with Fluffy, he hasn't really fought a striker on the same level of Sean Strickland. I know he did look very good in his fight with Roman Dolidze, but knowing what we know now, that Roman Dolidze was very compromised in training camps, and he barely did any training for that fight. And plus, Roman Dolidze isn't really that good at all anyways. So there is a little bit of an asterisk on Fluffy's win over Dolidze. His best win 2 fights ago was against Brendan Allen, which was a very close fight. Well, I mean, he did clearly win it, but it was very competitive. And Sean Strickland also fought Brendan Allen, but except he just knocked him out. And plus, the best part of Sean Strickland's game in the grappling are his get-ups. If he does get taken down by Fluffy, he'll be able to immediately return to his feet. And I just think that Sean Strickland, he's going to get it done. I think he's going to be a little bit craftier on the night of the fight. I do think the jab and teep will be effective. I think he will be effective in the striking. While I do think Fluffy will be able to find success in grappling, he'll be able to get takedowns. Strickland will be able to return to his feet quite quickly. So, yeah, give me Sean Strickland to probably pull this one off by a decision. I don't know if he's going to get a late round stoppage. I feel like Fluffy Hernandez, he will be able to thug it out. That is pretty much Hernandez's striking defense, just thugging strikes out. And I don't know if he can do that if he takes too many teeps to the body. So, yeah, give me Sean Strickland to win by decision or a possible late round TKO. But I am not counting out Fluffy. I do think he can make things work for him in this fight and get a possible victory. But right now, I'm picking Sean Strickland.